proposal, and then the mayor and council will debate it. But you and I both know that the majority of our funding is in fire and police, and so yes, yes.
Who keeps giving them that money?
Yes.
Not you, because I've told you that. I thank you directly for not going along with that rubber stamp. And it's like every year, come on, now, work with the money you got and stuff. But
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah, and I think you've sent an email last year, and I appreciate it. I think you sent an email to mayor and council, and I would definitely, encourage you to do the same. I think it's really important, right? So.
and it's important also for the police department to be more accountable of their hours and also and stuff. And
Yes.
my background is in law enforcement,
Yeah.
and I can tell you there's a lot of waste and a lot of stuff that
Or buying equipment and things
buying
like that.
equipment, and there's a lot of overtime hours and all that kind of stuff. And we're at 60 million. That's a lot. I can't even think of if I owe somebody 60 million.
Yeah, which is the reason why, I don't know if you watched Tuesday's meeting, but I was the no vote on the billboards for the Railyards. It's a project that, I think it's important, making sure we have economic development, but we signed over 2 billboards to developers and 3 more is on the way. And I voted no on it because if it's an asset of the city, I think it's important for us to know what the projected revenue is. Because
Right.
that's money that we can keep in the city.
Right.
And so that happened on Tuesday.
Right.
So I appreciate you sharing that, and I will continue to keep fighting that front because at the end of the day, our budget is a reflection of our values in the city, and yeah. I think the community is asking for making sure we have basic services. So.
And if we're going to talk about equity, we've got to do more than just pay lip service to this
Yeah.
thing called equity. Equity
Yeah.
is like, okay, well, if we see areas like
Yeah.
this that need, then we should be helping these areas out.
Yeah, like
that.
Meadowview, like Del Paso Heights. They don't even have streets up there.
Yeah. All right. Speaking of streets,
Yes.
all right. Speaking of streets, so we're going to go a little bit soil testing. So we talked about those reports are done, and they did all these reports. And are they actual physical copies of these reports and stuff that we can?
I'll have Jaime
See?
answer that because it's city staff does that.
Okay.
That report.
Directly with the property owners.
They work with the record of the property owners. Yeah.
But they did a report, so there's a record of it that we should be able to review, right? So we should be able to see what they
Yeah.
did and all
I
that
would
kind of
say
stuff.
yes. Yeah,
You have to
absolutely.
check back with city staff, but if you're not satisfied with the timeline, then.
Well, I
records
mean,
request.
okay.
Yeah, hold on. Yeah.
If it takes you some time to get it and stuff, but all of that stuff should be available as well as any associated costs with that.
Yeah.
We're running the city here and
Yeah.
we do things and we keep records of it, and if we've been
Yeah.
testing this stuff, there's a report someplace that somebody did that says this is what we found. And we pay for those reports, and I'd like to see them.
Yeah.
So if we can do that, that would be
Yeah.
great.
Yes. Okay. And I would also say, because that study is done between the city staff and the property owner. Because I want to make sure that the request that you get is thorough. So usually there's a PRA request process. So-
Whatever they have to this point, because
Yeah.
to this point, I've just heard of these reports and haven't seen a report, but I've heard that there's a report.
Yeah.
But if they've been working on this for years and months, then surely there's some documentation to go along with what they've done so far. And that's another way that we got to hold people accountable, because if we pay people to do services, or if we expect people to do services, and we don't follow up and make sure they get done.
Yeah, we want to make sure they get done.
So there's got to be a written report to that. I hope we get that. 102 acres.
I know.
102 acres.
I know.
Right over there, big
Yes.
hole in the ground,
Yes.
and
That was vacant for many years.
it's still vacant.
Yeah, you're right. So just a status on that. The mayor and I have been meeting to make sure that we're in alignment, because like I will always be open and transparent with you, is that it's really important that the mayor and I have agreement. We may not have agreement. And I want to make sure that whatever step the mayor wants to move forward, that whether we agree or not, that the community is part of that process. And so there is a next step, because I want to make sure that this site gets developed. That's really important for me. And I shared with you last year in March, it was supposed to come back as an action item so that we can vote on the guiding principles and next steps to actually develop the property. But because we had a new mayor and 2 new council members, the mayor wanted to be a workshop instead of an action item. And so I told the team we're hosting a community meeting on the February 4th. We've been working with city staff on next step and talking to the mayor that let's move forward with the next steps on this development, right? And so that's a request for interest, basically like the community have said, hey, these are affordable housing, key things you want to see, right? And so we also have to make sure, yes, we want to make sure, yeah, and that is just happen, right? You need developers, you need people who
Right.
want to invest, and so that's the next step, is doing a request for interest to see, you know, if you're a developer, a good developer that wants to invest.
Is the 102 acre committee the one that y'all formed a while back? Are they still meeting, or is that just?
It's really important for me to make sure that we continue to have an advisory committee, because what I was
Have
trying
they
to do
been
is,
have they been meeting on a regular? When's the last time they met?
the last time we met was it last month?
Right before, council recess.
Right before council recess.
December.
Yeah.
And so was it just a meeting, drink some coffee, and?
No, it was because they haven't met the mayor. The mayor haven't met with the advisory committee, and I wanted to make sure that the mayor goes and share what his thoughts are, because it's really important.
So the thoughts or whatever ideas thus
Yeah.
far of the 102 committee and stuff, or what are we hearing on that stuff? I mean, do they submit a written report, or
No,
just
there's no
talk to you?
written, no, there's no
verbally
written,
about
yeah, it's basically like
what they think?
providing them updates
Okay.
about what's happening, and it's also a form of accountability because they want to know what's going on
Right.
as well. So
But at some point, as you talked about, it needs to be put
Yeah.
on the, what do you call it? Put on the agenda for an action item, or
yeah,
to move it.
it will need to be put forth to the mayor and council as an action item. So the 102 advisory committee, they don't really have like a voting item. They're more like advisory,
Right.
And so, but I do take.
But whatever they've developed or talked about or thought about and stuff is gonna be part of, hey,
Yeah.
we've had this thing, that's part of the process.
Yes.
You know, and now we
Yeah.
need to, we've taken their
Yeah.
thoughts or whatever work they did, and now we wanna take this and we wanna move forward
Yeah.
based on their recommendations, and so.
Yeah, so that's moving. So that's moving along. Looking forward to that, and hopefully, when we do the RFI and we get feedback from developers, public agency, here are things that they're interested in, what they can invest in, then we'll have a conversation about what that looks like for South Sacramento. Yeah, moving on. to the next step.
Yeah. Light rail parking, is that totally dead, or is that still kind of
We're still waiting to hear back.
Yeah, we're still waiting to hear back
from,
from a SAC-RT, right, Susan?
Yeah. That's the last status.
Yeah.
I got.
Yeah, that we haven't officially got a response from the federal government yet.
Yeah.
Even though there's like stuff that was reported on SAC-B, but the federal government has not officially responded to SAC-RT. So we want to make sure that we get the official response, because the feds actually get the final say, but we have not heard like officially, like SAC-RT has not heard officially from the federal government. And so I believe SAC-RT is waiting for that right now. So when we hear that, yeah.
and that's all part and parcel, because this joint powers agreement, the way you're gonna do business with the homeless now, try to rearrange that.
Oh, we can talk about that.
That's
a whole
something
nother
whole
thing. We can
different
talk-
stuff.
yeah,
It's
we-
sort of related, but
kind of sort of related, but just for the safe parking, you know that I've been a proponent of that, because I think it's really important to have spaces where families and individuals who are sleeping in their cars have a safe
Absolutely.
place. So I've been a proponent of that, and a couple years ago, we didn't have the political will, even though I said, hey, we should try this. SAC-RT didn't have the political will, and that was under the Biden administration. If we